Behind the Funny, where we find out what goes on behind the scenes at a comedy club. I'm Barbara Holliday, co-owner and booker at Flappers.
I'm Joshua Snyder, and I'm eating white chocolate right now.
Oh, delicious. We also have an amazing headliner with us who hasn't been here for maybe 2 years.
It's been a while.
And if you're
Had I known I was going to get this kind of bass, I would be back. It
It's
made
the
my
inc-
balls hum, and it's fun.
If you don't recognize that quote, it's Mr. Adam Ferrara, ladies and gentlemen. We're so excited to have him. Our sound guy is going to play some sound effects throughout our podcast if he gets ready, but he's working on it. Adam, such a pleasure to have.
Nice to see you again. Nice for having me back.
It has been a couple years.
I was thinking about, because we were just talking about the last time I was here was a benefit for some guy running for office. I remember I was here.
Adam Schiff, probably.
Was that it?
Oh, yes, our local congressman.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Adam Schiff.
Right.
He himself thinks he's a comedian
Right.
and is quite funny,
Right.
actually.
But I think that's the last time I was. Oh, and you know it was because I was here. Lily Tomlin was right back
That's
here.
right, the
Oh, right.
amazing
Lily Tomlin saw me. Yes,
Oh.
and I got a picture of me and Lily. But that
Yeah.
had to be 2 years ago.
She was just coming to support
Yeah.
a young comedian who
That's
happened to
right.
be in the show.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't think of you as a comedian. They think of you as an actor.
Well,
because
I am a slave to the dance. Well, that's what I get, because I've been so fortunate, Barb. I got Rescue Me, which was comedy and drama.
Great show.
Top Gear, which is a gearhead show. And Nurse Jackie, which was comedy and drama too. But so when people come to see me in clubs, they're like, I didn't know you were a comedian. I'm like, what did you think was going to happen here? I was just going to do some donuts in a car or act some shit out from TV.
Monologue, please. Well, how did you get started? Were you a stand-up before you were an actor?
Yeah.
I mean, tell us
I got
about
out of college, and then I told my parents, well, we've done one of your things. Now I'm going to try one of mine. And I went to an open mic, July 13th, 1988, Long Island, the East Side Comedy
Long
Club.
Island.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm
Yes.
from Long Island.
Where are you
Did
from?
West Babylon.
Oh, okay. Huntington.
Originally.
Yeah,
Oh,
Huntington.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that
Yeah.
connection.
So I did that open mic, and I didn't know that that's what I wanted to do. I knew that when I was on stage, I felt like, look, I felt like I belong here. It's like the one place that, okay, I belong here, but I didn't think I could make a living at it. I said, well, let me just see how far this takes me. So it's been, 26, 27 years, and it's just a phase. This is the longest phase I've ever been in.
Do you
Tomorrow
remember-
I'm gonna
do you
wanna be a
remember-
So you were
cowboy.
5 when you did your open mic, right?
Barbara, this is the
something
oldest
like
I've
that?
ever been.
Me too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you remember the first joke you told?
I do not. I do remember that
Are you blocking it out?
The material I had went out the window because I made the mistake of telling my mother that I was going to go try this open mic thing.
And she's in the
And
front
she
row,
told
right?
she told the neighborhood.
Ah, jeez.
So the whole entire neighborhood showed up on a Wednesday night. Everyone was sold out. So if I wasn't funny, I couldn't leave the house. It was my little community. Everyone knew each other. My aunt ran the deli. We knew the guy at the pharmacy. Everyone looked out for each other. I had to take a train to the next town to buy beer when I was a kid because everybody knew me. I couldn't do anything wrong in my own neighborhood.
Oh.
So everyone showed up, and I remember going. They started, hey, Adam! And I started yelling at my cousin to shut up, and I was making fun of them before I knew it. The 5 minutes were up.
It must have been Italian stuff, an Italian family stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's a big family, depending on who makes parole.
How big? How big?
Again, we don't like to count.
Oh, I
Italians
see.
don't like to count or be photographed, so we really don't know.
So they're part of that whole New York underground, we shouldn't talk about it?
It's a
group?
weird way of growing up. It's not like there's no one really. They think they are. They think like all Italians think like, do I have to make a call? Who the fuck are you going to call?
Right.
You work for the water company, and I had to pick you up. Who are you going to call with all this power you have? But my uncle was the same. My uncle used to do this, like, Anna, you want eggs? What? I'm making eggs. You want eggs? What? Yeah, I want it. What? Are they stolen eggs? Everything's a friggin' secret. Everything's a drug deal. And then that's the way they always talk to you. Like, everything's like, keep your mouth shut. I'm not cooking for the whole friggin' neighborhood. I'm like, even if they know you're making eggs, no one's going to kick down the door with a knife and fork. What the hell are you worried about?
So you did the open mic.
I did the open mic.
You got the buzz. You got the juice.
I got bit early, but I didn't think I could make a living or do it. And
Right.
so I figured, okay, that was fun. I never even thought I would do it again. And I had
Who does?
I know. Well, that night I said, okay, that was fun. And like a day later, or 2 days later, the phone rang, and it was actually the guy who became my first agent. And he said, are you open Thursday night? And I went, yeah. You want to go bowling? What do you? I had no idea what he was talking about. He goes, I'll give you $20. Go do. I just need you to do 5-10 minutes at this. I go, Just do your act. Okay. I hung up the phone. I go, I guess I got an act. He gave me $20. I went to this bar, and I just started. I did the stuff I didn't do that night, and then he turned out to be my agent. So
$20 for your.
my mother
first?
still has the $20.
Oh, that's a miracle.
She does. She pressed it in the book. I'm keeping this. Like something's going to happen. I said, well, you know what's worth today, Ma? $19.50. It's not even worth $20 anymore.
I was gonna say we don't even pay people $20 now.
So that's what she's got. But that's how I started. And what really actually helped me get work as a comic, I had a car. I had a car, and I was responsible. I always had a car, and I would always like show up. It was because it was work to me. I was like, okay, this is a job. I'm working. This isn't. So I would pick up the people in the city. I would pick up a lot of the headliners in the city and drive them to gigs. In
Who was one of your
Patty
first
Rossborough.
I
Patty
love hearing the
Rossborough.
early.
So I would pick up
headliner.
Patty, and I would drive her to college gigs, and she liked me because I was on time, I was clean, I wasn't trying to have sex with her. I was like just a nice kid to do it. So she was my patron. She was my Medici. So I did all the stuff where I worked with her, and I would just drive everyone to gigs and pick them up in the city because the city comics didn't have cars. And this was when the Improv was still on 44th and 10th. So that's where we would meet everybody. And you do these gigs in Connecticut because 88's when I started. And I was on TV way before I should have been because the producers figured out it's cheap to produce. Because if you remember, MTV had a half-hour comedy, VH1, A&E, they all
So
had
you
it.
had a half-hour comedy special.
I had, well,
before-
my first one was Lounge Lizards on Comedy Central.
I remember
But
that.
driving to all those gigs, all the city comics, all the bars figured out it was cheap to produce too. So you could make a
Yeah.
living, but without getting on a plane. So that's what I did. I put like 190,000 miles on an 85 turbo coupe. And
Who
my
knew
little
that could
Ford.
even be done?
Yes, it can.
You know the cars,
Yes,
that's
I
for sure.
do.
How did you just have a family, innate love for
I did have a family. I
cars, or-
wasn't spawned upstream, Barbara. Thank you.
I know nothing about cars. I mean, like, if there's anyone, I know nothing about cooking, and I know nothing about cars. Like,
Well, I can't. Be honest with you. Ever since the carburetor went away, I can't. I lift up the hood right now on a new car, and there just should be a sign that said, "Call the guy," because you're going to screw this up. You got to reflash the computer. You can't do this. So, I can't fix them. I don't have the if-then go-to statement, but I have an emotional connection to him because that was my dad. My dad could fix anything. And when you wanted to spend time with your dad, you'd be in the garage, and I'd be hanging over his shoulder, handing him tools, and we quickly found out my mechanical ability. So my job was to hold the light. That's what I did. But I remember my father vividly. I was working on this. I was trying to work on this old Cadillac that we had, and my father was in the doorway with a Lucky Strike and that pained look on his face, just trying to watch me. And there's blood flying and oil leaking and wrenches falling. And he comes over, he puts his hand on my shoulder, he goes, "Son, you're gonna have to get a job and you're gonna have to work at something for the rest of your life. This ain't it."
Okay, Daddy.
what was your first car?
All right, there's two
then?
stories.
So
The first
yeah.
car I got was a 1970 Coupe de Ville that my mother burnt the back seat out with a cigarette, and we turned it into a plumbing truck.
Oh,
Data story.
perfect.
Parked the car, 1970. My father always had a Cadillac. That was his thing. It was always his thing. Is like, your mother's always going to drive a Cadillac. They weren't new, but they were Cadillacs. So because that was like obtainable to him, he's like, all right, that's my queen, and she will have a coach. Okay, fine. That was a big pride thing for him. So we had an old used 70 Coupe de Ville. My mother flicks a cigarette out the window. It goes in the back seat. We don't know. We go and wake up in the morning. Smoke is coming out of it. The whole car's burned out. So me and my pop, we pop the trunk. We take the seat out. It's still smoking, and we figured out we can get lengths of pipe from the trunk through the back seat underneath the dashboard, and that can be the plumbing truck. And we can run pipe and tools, and it became a plumbing truck. And I took my road test in that car. And I remember my father telling me, "Listen, when you take the test, don't jam on the brakes because the torch is going to hit you in the back of the head, and they'll probably fail you." Thanks, Pop. I remember the guy came up like this, like I pulled up like in the Munsters coach. And he's like, "Okay, parallel park. There's no cars. Make believe. Just get it over with." And he passed me. So that was the first car I had, and it didn't run after that. So the first car I had that actually ran was from my grandfather. We have a thing in my family called the Dead Relative Inheritance Program.
Oh,
So Grandpa
sounds
passes
good.
away, and I get a 1981 Dodge Aries K. I know you don't know a lot about cars. But let me tell you something. That
Dodge.
car
I hear
is
Dodge.
crap with a K.
Like a Kia.
Oh, it's terrible.
Okay.
Front wheel drive. It had red velour seats.
Oh.
Yeah, it was white, and the hubcaps would like the rims would like click every time. So it would drive and it would click because they were loose. I had to get out and tighten them all the time. But it was terrible. It was an old man's car, and it smelled like DeNobili cigars because he smoked those cigars.
Ugh.
And I drove that to high school, and I could park it in the teacher's lot because it looked like an old man's car. So I always
Nobody
had a place
messed with
to-
it.
Nah, I didn't think it was a kid's car.
Was that your prom vehicle?
No, the prom vehicle I had was at that point my mother got another Cadillac. She had a '77 Fleetwood Brougham, UPS brown. It was terrible. It was terrible. But it was long as hell and had those door handles that looked like towel racks. You just close the doors like that, and that was the car I took to the prom. I went to 4 different proms. I went to 2 junior proms and 2 senior proms.
Well, you're lucky.
Oh yeah. What a prize.
Did you get asked, or did you have to ask?
I got asked twice, and then I asked a girl. I went two of mine. I asked a girl, and the other 2 I was asked by a girl, and I went, "Well, I don't know yet. It's a little early. I want to see what other offers come in."
Oh, one of those. Well, you had enough vehicles to go to all the proms,
Yeah.
right?
Thank God I didn't take the plumbing truck yet. So what kind of car do you drive?
Now, a
Yes.
Ford Escape Hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that vehicle.
Okay.
Actually, I bought one of the first Honda hybrids when
The Insight.
No, it wasn't.
No?
It was an Accord.
An Accord? Okay.
It was like 2 weeks off of the lot, and my partner was like, "Don't get it. We don't know how these hybrids are going to be." And that car just lasted till literally like 4 years ago. It
And I
lasted-
love the original technology. So there was a kite and a key that you had to hold out the
Yes,
window.
and you had to stand on one foot. I actually got really lucky because it has an 80,000 mile warranty on the battery.
Wow.
And at 75,000 miles, the battery failed. And I took it into the Honda, and they're like, "You are lucky."
Look at that.
So I got a whole new battery and basically ran the car for another,
Good for you. What do you
so.
drive?
Honda Civic,
Honda
2010.
Civic.
Hondas.
Okay.
Yes.
Look at you
Yeah,
guys.
I know.
That's
It's kind of
great.
preppy,
You know what my
right?
daily driver is?
What?
1970 Buick Electra 225. It's huge. I know you have no idea
I
what I'm
don't know
saying.
that vehicle either.
18 feet 5 inches of
Is it?
Detroit steel. That's basically, it's a strip mall with a steering wheel. That's how big this thing is. I know. I have a hybrid. You think my car's bad on gas, and you're both wrong. It's fucking horrendous on gas.
My partner sees people in a Hummer, and he boos them.
Yeah.
He literally sees them driving by and he's like, "Boo." He also has a terrible fear of Cadillacs. Like if
He
we're
does?
driving,
Was he bitten by a Cadillac as
I
a
don't
child?
know, but
or-
it's so funny that you're talking about all these Cadillacs. 'Cause the whole time I'm envisioning, if we're driving behind a Cadillac, he goes like this. He just
Why?
hides his eye,
What
and
happened?
he's like, "You got to move. Yeah,
What
it's
happened?
bad luck. Bad luck to drive behind a Cadillac." I don't know. You never heard this?
I've never heard. This,
Huh?
no.
I think it's good luck to be driving the Cadillac. It's
true.
Maybe it's bad luck to not be
Well,
driving.
you know,
Well,
I
it
don't
depends.
know.
Some Cadillacs are better
You don't
than
want to be
others.
driving it to report for your sentence. You don't want to do that. I'm here to turn myself in. You don't want that.
So, in addition to in the plumbing, you were talking about a little bit about
Yeah.
plumbing. Like, did you actually do that job for a little while?
Oh yeah,
then?
I
So
worked
that
for
was
my
like
dad. That
your-
was my first job.
Okay.
Was my father did kitchens and bathrooms. Like all the other kids, they would go, and my brothers too. They went to summer camp. My father was like,
Work.
you go to work.
Yeah.
You want to do arts and crafts? Take this hammer, knock that wall down. There you go. So that's why I went to work. Because I didn't mean to make a birdhouse. I don't need to make a bird. I need cash. So I went to work.
Wow, plumbing is just such a. And
It's
I'm
not
not
that
being
Barbara.
punny. It's a shitty job. It's just a shit.
It's not
of all the
it's not
jobs-
that difficult. I mean, what do you got to know? Shit don't go uphill. There, you've solved it.
It's amazing. Even here at Flapper, sometimes we need a plumber though, and we have to call like 4 or 5 different people
Yeah.
because
Everyone's
everybody's
busy.
just so.
Would you
busy.
be available for that if we needed you?
Yeah,
for-
I don't- as a
can't do.
backup in case something
I know
happens?
nothing. I didn't know anything then. I still don't know nothing now.
Did he just go hand me stuff and?
Yeah, it was like
do
the
that and
construction
move
stuff. I
that?
mean, I would pay attention. I could do a little bit, but it wasn't my thing. I couldn't do
So,
any
did
of
you
that.
do comedy when you were starting?
No,
to
I
do
was
the
in
comedy
college. I
about-
was in a band in college, which was terrible.
Oh, a band.
Yeah, I
so
played
you're a
bar
musician
band
as
guitar.
well.
What was
I'm
what was
so
the name of the band?
Verbal warning, because that's what happened when you got in trouble. Your first thing when you got in trouble at college, you would get a verbal warning, then you would get a written warning, and then they would say, "We're returning your deposit," and they'd throw you out. So we got a verbal warning, so that was the name of our band. 'Cause,
What did you do?
I was a guitar player.
Okay.
What is that?
Guitar.
Oh,
That
yeah.
I was guessing. That's my
you.
it's my version of
I
air
don't know if you
guitar.
have a family, and this is I'm going to communicate through signals.
Yes, they're only listening to us, but it's
They can't see us.
well, maybe if we have your
See,
permission,
this is
we
weird
can put
because
it
there's
on
no
YouTube.
audience. I keep going like this, but it's like the press conference. Like,
I didn't mean we were more popular than Jesus.
Yeah, we're also recording it, Barb.
you what?
Oh,
Yeah,
see,
we're
we
also
are
videotaping.
recording it, but
Oh,
we're
we
not
are.
going to do anything.
Oh, I
unless
didn't
you
know if
say
it was.
we can use
because
it.
I was trying to. I
We
don't know
might
whether-
put it on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
See, I have to ask him while he's on the spot right now.
I
You
I
don't
know
mind?
that.
He looks, then they can actually see and hear us at the same time. It's
Look
modern
at that.
technology.
Now, if you get smell-o-vision working, we'll get most of the senses in there.
But you have to be sitting in your car when you're listening and not watching this.
Right.
So, I'm curious how you
What?
you went from plumbing and then stand up. So you
No, I did. So I'm working for my dad, right? And
Yeah.
then I get a job, and that's during the day. So I'm going to school, and then I get a job at the
and
mall.
what were you studying?
It was high school. I was going to high school.
Oh.
Yeah,
but
so I was still in high school. I was working with my dad since I was 12. That's nice when
That
the boss
is-
picks
I
you up
worked
and
young.
drops you off,
Yeah.
you know? 'Cause you can't really call in sick.
No.
You're sick. Yeah, me too. I'm sick and tired. Get up. So that was... So yeah, I worked for my dad, and then when I was about 15, 16 years old, I got a job at the mall working for a luggage company. E. Vincent Luggage in the Walt Whitman Mall in Huntington, Long Island. And their big contract was every time the airlines would break a bag, they would send it to us to fix. If they couldn't fix it, they replaced it. And it was a luggage store. So I was working at night in the mall. So then I was doing that in the mall. I was going to school, and then I didn't plan on going to college. My father said, "You're going to college." Why? He said, "Because Pop, no one in our families has gone to college." He goes, "Yeah, but they're dumb." He goes, "You got a shot." Okay, so I went to college. And when I got out of college, I always worked in college too. I was working at a fence company too, and I was digging holes, putting fences in, and building sheds.
But you were studying. What were you studying?
I had
You
a
said
finance degree, finance and communication. Yeah, don't be too impressed. I
Finance.
can't balance my
Numbers.
checkbook. I really can't. I call up the bank. It's close enough.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can't.
terrible with numbers.
I can't do that. But I went home every weekend because after the band, the first year of college is you drink too much, you think you're gonna have these friends the rest of your life, and then one day something happens, you realize, okay, this guy's a drug addict. He owes me money. This guy wrecked my car. I got to get the hell out of here. So I would go home every weekend and go to work. And I was working at a fence company over the summers, digging holes, and driving these trucks. So I went back every weekend because I went to school in Marist College, which was about 2.5 hours
I know
from my
Marist.
house.
I booked
Poughkeepsie.
comedians there.
Yeah. So I went to there, and I lived on Long Island. So I would drive home because I had the car. I got to thank my dad for many things in my life, but he always told me, look, get a car. You always want to be able to get wherever you want to get. And if you get jammed up, you pay your car off first. No one's going to come and tow your house away. Okay, great. So I would drive up and down, and I would make money because the kids were knew I was leaving on Thursday. I was coming back on Monday because I had a class. So the kids were like, we'll pay for gas. And fine. So I had my gas paid for. And I went home and I worked on the weekends, and I was just digging holes and putting money in the bank.
And were you starting to intertwine your comedy there?
That's
Did
when
you-
I started figuring out, what do I want to do? Because I figured, look, I don't want to keep digging these holes.
Right.
And I realized finance ain't going to happen. So I'm going to have to work at something the rest of my life. But let me try whatever the hell I want to do first. So I went to the open mic, and I did the open mic. Like my last year of college, I was 21, I think, 21, 22. So I did that, and then I got another couple local gigs, and I would hang around the comedy clubs. And Richie Minervini, who ran the East Side Comedy Club, I would sit at the bar because Wednesday nights was open mic. And I joined an improv group in Queens with Rob Bartlett. Rob Bartlett was on
improv.
Imus in the morning. So I joined that in Queens because the improv group on Long Island, you had to pay $10 for the class, and then you got stage time. The one in Queens, you had to drive to, but it was free. So I didn't have to pay anything. So I did that. And I would go to East Side on Thursday nights and just sit at the bar because Richie figured out that I was funny enough where he didn't have to pay a middle act. So I would get stage time, and he would put me up for
Sneaky
10 or 15
cleverness.
minutes, and I didn't care. Go ahead. It was Bill Withers. Go ahead, use me up. So I got my stage time that
You
way.
learned.
Yeah. So and then when I realized that comics didn't have cars, and I did, a guy named John Schuler, one of the honest bookers I ever met in my life. He had bars in Connecticut. That's where he was. And he saw me somewhere, and he says, "Hey, you're funny." Yeah, okay. So I did an audition for him, and he would book me, and he was like, it was $75 to headline. So there was a guy in front of me, and I would get $75 in a bar to headline. And he goes, "Can you pick up my money too and send me a check?" And I didn't have a checking account, so I was getting money orders. So he got 75, and I got 75. But he would call me up. He's like, "Adam, I got a gig. It's far away. The crowd is shit. It's not a lot of money. You want it?" "Yeah, I'll take it." And I would do those shit gigs, and that's where I sharpened my teeth. In the bars.
And did you start touring on the
We're
road?
live.
Yep, we're live. We have a server already setting up the room. Did you start touring around the country doing clubs, or did you jump right in? How did the acting thing happen?
Well, I did stand up, and I always wanted, that was the calling, and then I realized that I wanted to do the sitcom. I always wanted to do that, and I didn't know how. And I realized early, I said, you got to learn that. Because I don't think you can teach funny. You can learn how to write a joke, and you can craft.
Yeah.
You can learn the craft.
But
you
people have an innate
people,
sense
you got to
of
either
humor.
got to
Yeah.
be there or not be there. Like my wife is very funny. her timing is great, and she's very, very funny.
I'm sure she is.
Yeah.
All wives are funny.
Yeah, no, my wife was funny. My father was funny. He had no idea he was funny. So they're funny people, but to make a living at it and to not beat the shit out of yourself in this line of work,
Yeah.
mentally beat yourself up is one of the greatest gifts you can learn. But so I studied the acting because I realized that that's something I didn't know. Didn't know if I could do or not. So I studied with Stephen Book. He was out here, and that's when I got my first gig.
And what was your first?
My first gig was 1993. It was a Fox sitcom called Flying Blind with Taya Leone and Corey Parker.
Oh,
and I was the
Taya
guest star. And it was directed by Jerry Bonners, who was Jerry the dentist from the Newhart show. Yeah, and I had come out to do Comic Strip Live on Fox. Remember the Fox?
Yes,
So I came out to do
That was
that,
a
and
great
I got this gig, so I had to stay. So I did Comic Strip Live. It was Saturday night. They give you a black denim jacket, Comic Strip Live. I'm like, I'm in a gang. I got colors. So I put the Comic Strip Live thing on, and then I got that acting gig, and that was the first one. And I'm like, yep, I gotta continue to study because I really like this, and I want to be able to do it well.
And I remember some of that early stuff. I am old enough to remember. I don't know if Josh is. He's a youngin'. But you seemed to come out of the gate real quick, and people build a fan base really early.
It was really nice, and I did a couple of pilots that didn't go anywhere. You know, but I didn't know I didn't know what it was. Okay, I'll do that. You know.
And did you continue to do stand-up?
Yeah.
So what a lot of people don't realize, we get a lot of new comedians listening to this podcast too,
Right.
and they don't understand what comedians are they're such hard workers. Like, you're all day on a set, and then you're going to the club at night. Jeff Garlin is here every Sunday.
Yeah.
He does the Goldbergs all week, and then he's here Sunday nights. It's like crazy schedules.
I was doing Top Gear. This was the 2 years where we didn't sleep, and God bless my wife because I was just a walking zombie. Not the prize that sits before you now.
Right.
But we would shoot in the last season of Rescue Me, and I was doing the Rescue Me comedy tour, so we were still touring. And I got the first season of Top Gear, so we didn't sleep that year because we were doing it. And then I got just Top Gear for a while and doing stand-up, and then I got Nurse Jackie. So for 2 years, I was doing Top Gear and Nurse Jackie. So I'd be in the fall, I'd be in New York, flying to shooting the show, and then flying to whatever Top Gear had to be. And then the rest of the year, we were shooting that show. My wife had to hold down the fort because I was just a mess.
Do you have a writing process for your comedy? Like, do you record yourself? And
I learned this. I process by listening, and I think that's when I was a kid because of the comedy albums. You know, my prized possessions under the bed was Richard Pryor, Carlin, Robert Klein.
I saw. Did you got to open for Carlin?
I did.
Is
Yeah,
that right?
it was great. Right before he died.
Oh,
That was great.
How
I'm at
exciting.
Comedy and Magic, right? I got a headline weekend. I'm looking forward to doing it. My wife, we were all ready to go down because we love the salmon. So we go down, and I get a call from Peter, my manager. He says, "Listen, they're going to bump your weekend at Comedy and Magic Club, but if you want to open, you can open." And right away, the ego kicks in. Open? Me? Are you crazy? What kind of sword swallower thinks he can follow me? Who's bumping me? And they went, George Carlin. Does he need a ride?
I have a car.
I still have the car. I can pick him up. So the MC goes up. I do my half hour, and you can't see him before the show. The green room's closed. But they said, Mike Lacey said, "Listen, you can go see George afterwards, but before he's prepping." I said, "Okay, fine." So I do my set. I walk off, and the Comedy and Magic Club, it's like a little theater. So there's like wings, and it's like a little stage. So I walk off. I say goodnight. The applause is going. There's a little man right there in the corner. And I can't see the outline. I see the beard, and I just see the eyes. And he goes, "You're funny." And I went, "And you're Carlin." And I shook his hand, and we just started bullshitting, because he's from Morningside Heights, which is like right below Harlem. So I know the neighborhood he was from. So I was talking to him about that. And we're just bullshitting backstage. He quoted a joke I had. He goes, "That's a great joke." I mean, he listened to me. And and we're just talking, and he missed his cue. They introduced him, and he goes, "Is that me?" And he walked out.
Oh, perfect.
And he took pictures with me after the show. He chatted with me, and he goes, "All right, I'll see you tomorrow night." And I ran out. My wife, I was 12 years old. She met my wife. I said, "George Carlin just saw my whole set. I'm going to see him tomorrow night." And then it dawned on me, fuck. George Carlin just watched my set. He's going to see me tomorrow night. I can't do anything the same. And I'm digging out the notebooks, and I'm going through the notebooks, and I'm torturing my poor wife with, "Honey, is this funny?" That's a fun game we play around the house. Where she goes, "Listen, I can't emotionally care for you at every moment." So we put another set together, and I went out, and he was standing there again. He goes, still funny. I go, still calling. And he went out, and it was great. Wow. And that was the last special. He was prepping for his last special.
Oh.
And I got the picture of my kitchen.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah,
I got to
great?
see him just at Universal Amphitheater probably a couple months before, I think it was.
How was that?
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. And he's so funny, he doesn't need a roof.
Did you feel the urge to do like more significant political comedy after watching him, or
that
no?
really was. I'm not a political guy.
No.
I'm a confessional comic, so I don't really comment on society. I more just talk about the pain I'm in. Pretty much, I suffered from my art. Now it's the audience's turn.
Suffer.
Yeah. So
But did he give you any notes or anything?
No,
or?
he said he liked a joke. He liked the joke I did about Dick Clark. He goes, "That's a funny joke."
What's that? Do you remember?
It was when Dick Clark. It was right. Dick Clark had the stroke. He had a stroke, and I was talking about how things get tough, and like it was a bad year for me. You know, do you ever think like if you believe in karma, do you ever think like what did I do in a past life to get the ride I'm on now? Did I give Lincoln the theater tickets? I mean, what did I do? You know, what is it? Abe, front row, balcony. Bring the wife. You'll have fun. So, but just this year was never going to end. So I'm watching Dick Clark do the countdown. Can't wait for the year to end. And he had the stroke, and he's doing the countdown. 8, 7, 7, 7, 7. I'm like, fuck, this year's never going to end. And that's the one he remembered.
Oh, yeah. What a great legend, huh?
Yeah, and just
We'll miss him a
I
lot.
got to meet Pryor.
Really?
A couple times, yeah. Remember the American Comedy Awards? Remember they
Yes,
so I
at
got
the Comedy Store,
Yeah, I get
right?
nominated a couple of times, and Pryor's there, and so they showed a clip of me doing stand-up.
Was it Bob Zamuda produced that?
Oh no,
American
it was
Comedy
Laughing.
Awards?
What's George?
George Slaughter.
George Slaughter.
George
yeah.
Slaughter.
Yeah.
Oh, the amazing George Slaughter.
So I get
still
who
up.
beat up a guy who tried to rape a mugger. They tried to mugger him and Barbara Sinatra.
Really?
And Slaughter took him down like a 7-year-old guy. In Beverly Hills.
Oh,
I'm not kidding. He's a great guy. I used to see
He's
George
still-
all the time.
George still comes. He was in here probably months ago.
I would see him more often than not whenever I took the Sunday night flight from New York to LA on JetBlue, because I would take the JetBlue, get the extra leg room, because I could watch Sunday Night Football on the plane, and he'd be on the plane. I'd see him
that's
at least a
funny.
couple times. So I got nominated. They showed a clip of me, and Pryor was behind me, and I was terrified to meet him. And my friend Mary Ellen Hooper, who actually
Funny.
won. Yeah,
Funny lady.
funny girl.
Yeah.
She goes, go up and say, you're never going to get this opportunity again. I go,
No, I have problems.
you know, I couldn't, because comics, here's the thing with me. I can be intimate with a room of 400 strangers, but as soon as it's one-on-one,
Don't look at me. I'm ugly.
I don't have that.
I love that
So, yeah.
subconscious voice.
I
you
don't know
do.
why I have that, but I do. So she said, go up and say hello to him. I said, Mr. Pryor. He goes, I just saw your clip and you're funny. I said, yo, and how do you not take that for the rest of your life? So, and that was Pryor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to meet two of my favorites, and Robin Williams.
I never did get to meet Robin Williams.
I met him at
though-
the comedy. He was. I finished my set at the Cellar in New York, and he was sitting at the table, and I shook his
Great
hand.
place.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at the Cellar, and we're just bullshitting. And he said something so fucking funny. He goes, listen, I know you're going up for your late set, and I'm not going to come watch you because I know you're funny. I hear you're funny. I can't watch you because you'll say something, I'll do it somewhere else, and I'll have to pay you, and I don't want to do that. And I went, that's funny. He goes, it doesn't. He goes, it just comes. Things go in and come out, and I can't. I said, that's fucking funny.
That makes so much sense, knowing the kind of chaos he had in his head. Like you just
Yeah,
things
when you look at it
all,
now,
and
it's
then he
like-
just spits it out.
Yeah, you don't know
Now
where it
it-
comes. Like, do you ever write something and think to yourself, this is too easy? Someone had to.
Yes.
I was reading McCartney's biography, and he thought yesterday he dreamt it. And he goes, this must be something that's in my head. And he asked people around, no, and that's where it comes from. I think that's again, whatever the human condition. This couldn't happen to me. It's too
Right.
easy,
So this may seem kind of like hacky or whatever, but I just have to ask you: how do you feel about comedians in cars? Have you
Great.
Have you been on?
I have not been on.
You need to get on that
I'd love to
show.
do it, but
I'm-
it's such a simple idea, and the
Yeah.
cars are great, and I think it's great. Anytime you can break the mold,
Right.
and do something. I mean, it's a whole different landscape now. Guys can be fun. They don't have to leave the house. Before, you had to get the network executive out to come see you.
Yeah.
We had to drag this guy, Stu, I'm forgetting Stu's last name. He was running ABC at the time. And they came out to see, they made a deal with me. And the guy never saw me. So he had to come all the way out to Pasadena at the Ice House to see me. And, we had to get them to come out. Now you can send a tape to them. This was, I remember being on the road, getting a call. You have to be here because you couldn't tape anything.
Are you on the Twitter and the
I'm
Instagram
on the
and
Twitter.
all?
I'm
You
on the
have to be,
Facebook.
right?
Everything.
I mean,
It's part of the job.
What's your Twitter?
At Adam Ferrara.
Oh,
and
that's
thank
an
God I
easy
have
one.
my wife because you can't say that. You know.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of weird. I was just reading an article in Time magazine about the trolling
Yeah.
with Leslie Jones and everything. How
Right.
mean that was.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we've experienced it. A Flappers.
Really?
Yeah. I call it twading.
Twading?
Twitter hating.
That's funny.
Twading.
Twading?
I mean, I'm sure someone else has thought of it. Like you
All right.
said, you come up with these ideas. But yeah, you have to watch out. I mean,
Yeah.
you just have to put good stuff out there.
Yeah,
and
well, it's also
jokes.
what kind of energy you're going to put out there. It's just another
Yeah.
form of reaching people, and sometimes people suck.
Yes, there are a lot of sucky people. We try not to let them suck off of. I call them energy vampires,
Oh yeah,
right?
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I got them.
Yeah,
And they
I'm
usually
sure.
come to the house for Thanksgiving. Hi, how are you?
So what are you working on? Can you tell us? Is there?
Well, I
some
finally
new
got a chance to go
projects
back to stand up. Top Gear, waiting to find a new home for Top Gear. Our contracted history is up, and BBC wants to continue us somewhere, so they're looking for a new home for us. So in the meantime, I get to go back and do stand up because I'm not, it's a great show to do. Top Gear, for those of you who don't see it, it's basically three idiots that like cars, and we get in these cars and we go on these adventures. And I've been to Iceland, I've been to Cuba, I've been to where else have we gone, David? We went to.
The
Germany,
producer, one of the
downtown
producers
LA.
of Top Gear, is
My-
actually in
David,
our
David
audience
Silverman,
today.
one of our executive producers of Top Gear, is here. And
Does he know a lot about cars?
He knows more than me. He knows everything about cars. So I get to do that, but it's a long show. You got the shoots are very demanding. We're in Iceland, driving up a volcano, sleeping in fishing shacks, and they fed us curry because that's what you want to do. You want to pump curry into people and put them in a closed environment. And but it's like we shoot for months, and then they edit it. Then we have to do the voiceovers, and then it airs. So now that I have time to go back and do stand-up, I'm finally going to do another special. So I'm very excited about that.
Oh, that's
When you're
good.
shooting stuff and you're unable to do stand up, is there a part of you that's like, I need to get on the stage?
Yeah, very much so. And my wife will tell me, go do a spot. You need to run.
Get your yayas out.
Yeah, you need that. It's so much of, I guess your identity is connected to that feedback. It's connected to that audience, and it's dangerous to have your self-worth in the hands of an audience, of that. But yeah, it's definitely, if I'm not, I get twitchy if I'm not, I don't have a place to
So
to go work out.
do you write stuff down now, or do you talk?
We started to get into
we started
it a
getting into
little.
it, but
The
do you-
process?
Yeah.
I'll get an idea, and then I'll bring it on stage. And then, like, if I'm doing like 3 days at a club, I'll start with an idea, and hopefully by the end of those 3 days, you figure you got 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. You'll get something. It's either going to work or it's not. It's the same process that younger comics have. I just do it quicker because I've been doing it for so long. You know how it works, and you listen.
He points
to
to
it.
me like I'm old.
Well-
You've been
Well,
doing
you-
this
you-
a while.
You've been in country as long as I have being a
Yes,
comic.
yes.
This kid.
I
I scared the
know,
hell
the
out of him on the way
youngins.
in.
That is true.
Yeah, but it's like, so it's the process is the same. It's just and you let go of. I let go of things quicker. I'm like, "Look, this isn't funny now, but it'll come back to me. So you have those. It's like the little garden. You keep watering the plants, and some days those lines will be ready. But I've learned to actually, what I'm doing now is I learned to tell the story, not just write the joke. So it's a different thing. Like the joke will lead to something else, or the story will lead to a joke. So it's more about what I want to say than just.
We just
Are
had
you all right?
We had a Burbank
I
comedy.
thought you
we-
passed a stone. I don't
No,
know what
what
that
you
sound
said was so profound in the comedy community. We just had a festival last week, and we had panels and lots of industry professionals, and all the comedians kept asking the same question. What's the magic formula? Of course, there isn't one, but it all came down to, what do you want to say? What is
Yeah.
your voice?
Yeah, what do you want to say? What's important to you? And it's finding that, and everything else will fall into place. If you find out this is just for me. If you find out what you want to say clearly, that's the trunk of the Christmas tree. The rest is fucking balls and bells and shit to hang on it. Those are just the jokes. But the core of what you're saying is what carries it for me.
How would you express to a young comic just starting out?
Get a
how-
car.
Yeah.
Get a car.
Perfect. Drive around,
Yeah.
drive headliners around.
Yes.
That's good advice.
That's it.
I tell them now, even, do you take any openers on the
Yeah,
road
when I
with you?
can, I'll
And
take my. But like, I got my friend Dr. Bill Miller, who's a great comic in
I
Chicago.
haven't seen Bill Miller.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's in Chicago, so I use him in Chicago. Phil Tagg, my pal Phil Tagg, I'll take with him. Matt Burke is my buddy on Long Island, so I those guys are with me. And they get really good comics, you know. So it's nice when you're working with someone you want to be with. And plus, the Rescue Me tour was great too because we've never toured as comics. You know, it was me, Dennis Leary, Lenny Clark, Kenny Rogerson. So you know, you're all headliners.
I love
never,
Kenny Rogerson.
Yeah, you never
He's
work
still
with
around,
each other.
yeah.
So like Dennis we were working on each other's acts, so it was great because we were just writing for each other, just to be in that environment on the bus. You know, just eating and drinking and laughing. So
Now you're married. You talk
I
about
am.
your wife a lot.
I
and
am.
I hear you have some
it's the
doggies.
best move I ever made.
Yeah.
Getting married.
Really?
I get up every morning. I drop the little magic potion in a coffee cup. You only love me. You only love me.
Oh, magic potion.
That's right.
Does she get to travel with you?
When she wants to, yeah.
Oh,
She used
when
to like.
she
we got-
wants to.
Well, we got the dogs now. We got the. You know,
What
we have
kind of
two-
doggies?
Oh, what kind of dogs? We have a Jack Russell Terrier. They're both rescue dogs, so they were both on death row. So so we go to get the second dog, and the lady's like, listen, you know, you can't feed her from the table. Please don't let her sleep in the bed with you. I'm like, I'm sorry, do we have joint custody of this? You were going to whack this animal an hour ago. Guess what? The dog sleeps right next to me, and I feed her from the table. Fuck you, it's my dog. So, yeah, we got two dogs, and
What?
which is the
Burbank
peak of...
Animal Shelter's calling. No, I'm
What?
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
We have two dogs, which I've quickly figured out is the peak of my responsibility.
Aw.
Barbara, these things eat every day.
I know. You have to feed them a couple times a day.
God.
I would suggest maybe twice a day.
I know.
I don't know.
So,
you only do once,
so
you
yeah,
do
it's tough
twice.
to leave with the dogs.
Yeah, but nowadays you can take them pretty much anywhere, right?
I know,
Or
we
do
gotta
you-
get- well,
Or do you
believe
have a
me.
doggy sitter at your house? Because that's
I don't. Here's the thing. I'm so attached to these dogs. I don't trust anybody. Now make sure you do this. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going. I'll stay here. Go ahead. You go. Here, take my mole. Put this on your face. Go talk about your dick to strangers.
dogs are the greatest, though. I can't even tell you. I have jokes about my dogs.
Yeah.
Do you have jokes?
I got a whole bit. My dog needed an eye.
Really?
Yeah, the eye went
It
bad.
got-
Eye surgery.
Oh, so it just went bad, or
She's a ratter, so she flips her head, so the
she-
muscle lets it go, and the lens falls down, $5,000, and then you cry. So yeah. And now the other eye's bad because she's got a cataract in the other eye, so she can't see that well. So that's why part of the reason we got the other dog is a seeing eye dog for my dog because she can't see, and her quality of life is better if we have the dog. So we got to do that. And then the next dog, thank God she's only got two eyes because it's $5,000 a pop with these fucking eyes. I'm glad it's not the feet. That's 4 of them. That's $20,000. Don't think I haven't done the math. Oh, love hurts.
What are their names?
Xenia?
Xenia.
Well, her full name is Princess Xenia of Santa Monica in New York.
Is that the one with no
That's
eyes?
the one with the eye. Yeah,
okay.
that's the eyes. And the other one is Kona.
Kona.
Yeah. So we couldn't change the name because she was used to, it was Copa. I guess Barry Manilow had this dog before we did, but they called the dog Copa. So we brought her home. My wife was calling the dog Copa, and she was kind of answering, and Copa became Kona, and then she actually answers to that. She doesn't stop shitting on the floor if you use that to tell her to stop, but she'll answer to it. So we couldn't really veer too much. I wanted to call it Aunt Phyllis because I always wanted to say, honey, Aunt Phyllis just shit on the rug. That makes me laugh. So, yeah, but so her name is Kona. Yeah, and she's got like she looks like a little cup of coffee with a lot of cream in it. So we call her Kona. Like
And
How much of your material now is dog related, would you say, as a result?
I got 13 minutes on this story. I do. I timed it because I'm like, I'm getting my fucking money's worth out of this operation. So yeah, so I got that's about. It's pretty much what's going on in my life, and you know, and what like you said, what I want to say.
I had a cat that somehow came home one day and just was very ill looking, and I was petting her and I felt her tail, and her tail was like crooked. So I don't know what happened, but somehow her tail had got run over or something. So we took her into the vet, and the vet says, we're gonna have to cut off the tail. And I'm like, oh no, you're gonna go. And so they said it's amazing laser surgery they do now, and they cut off the tail. They don't need it, you know. And then when I picked her up, I was like, okay. And then they're trying to give me the spare parts back. They're like, here's the tail, just like they do in auto parts.
They were gonna give you back the tail?
Yeah,
What?
like,
Bring
just
this
to
to the
prove-
wizard and he'll grant you a wish,
Right,
like the
just to-
broomstick? What
just
the
to
fuck are you gonna
prove
do with half a cat tail? You know what? I would take it home, and anytime the cat gave me shit, I pick it up. I go, you want to lose another fucking limb? This is what happened the last time you shit on the rug.
Oh, animals are such good fodder. And now, are your parents still alive? Or?
My dad died. That's another 8 minutes in the
Sorry.
act. It is. I'm not kidding.
Perfect.
Yeah. My dad passed away, and that was big. That was big for me because my dad was my hero. Him and Spider-Man.
Did he-
Spider-Man's 4 minutes. So
Did he enjoy your stand-up about?
he loved it.
Yeah.
He, you know, my father did the. He was such a big, generous man. He was a big fella. He was a big son of a bitch. My dad, a physically imposing man. He was like a cigarette machine with a head. He was just, and everyone in the neighborhood knew him. It was like he was like the crime boss. You know, he would sit in the. I remember vividly the kitchens and bathroom stuff. I'd be sitting in his office as a kid playing with a pipe wrench. A little kid playing with a pipe wrench and a piece of pipe, and the whole neighbor would come over and bring him coffee at the end of the day. Give him a cup of coffee. He'd light up a Lucky. They would sit at the other end of his desk and, all right, what's the matter? And they would pour their hearts out to him, tell him his problems, tell everyone about problems. My father would, look, this is what you need to do, and take it easy on yourself. And I remember, and this is what I'm writing about now, he goes, look, life is going to beat the shit out of you. Don't help it. Take it easy on yourself. And I've taken that with me the whole time.
Oh.
And that's pretty much what I'm writing about now, just examining how I beat myself up. And you know, I talk about, like my dad, I'm very proud of this, and that's the only reason I'm not, I hope it doesn't come off as, look what I've done, but I'm just very proud that this bit got the life it does. Because, you know, when we write stuff like this, you let them go. You know, you let them out in the universe, and they go to wherever they go, and they touch, people see what they want to see in them. So I did a bit about taking my father to chemo for the first time. It was on my last special. And the emotional changes, it was good because I bring the audience way down talking about why my father can't go to this place and because of my mother. And then the joke is the release.
Huge.
So the tension in the release is big, and it ends in an applause break. And that's the commercial break. You know, when you structure it, we'll go out on that, the big jib shot. I get a call after it airs from Professor Eddie Freefeld from NYU. He teaches comedy at NYU and Yale and structure and everything. And he licensed that bit. He goes, I'd like to license your bit and use it as a teaching tool for a quick. I said, yeah. So I'm pretty proud of that. It's like he shows that in classes. And I went to NYU and I spoke to the class. And that was,
exciting.
it just made me feel like I wrote about what, like I said, if there's any comics, write what you want to say. And then you'll see how it'll come back to you and how it can reach other people. Look, anybody, two Jews walk into a bar. Anyone can make that, you know, there's your punchline. But what's going to make you is what you want to talk about. What's going to come out of what you want to say.
See, all the great comics have this inside. And what an inspiration, Adam. That's such great
Didn't do a
advice
thing for me.
young
I'm still fucked up.
Are we going to hear some of this new dad stuff on this weekend?
Oh, yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah?
If,
You're kinda
I haven't put
working
the
on-
set together yet.
Oh.
But you'll hear the
Get
dogs.
busy. You're here Friday and Saturday,
I
8
know.
and
I'll
10
put
o'clock.
the dog stuff together because I got to go to the vet tomorrow. So
Oh.
I'm sure that's going to be fresh. in
That'll
my
be
mind.
Are you in the process of doing a special? Is that on the horizon? Something?
Yeah, it's almost to the point where I'm ready to take it out. Like you work on, you're like, okay, I got that. That's a solid 45, but the ending needs work, and this patch has to be working. I'm a perfectionist, and I know that it's never done. It's just when it comes out, you know, it's never. You have to know when it's finished. That's the good part of having a producer and having someone else, another set of eyes to know when it's done. Because I really can't see it. That's when my wife comes in. My wife is like, now you're just obsessing, you know. She goes, I know you want to push and everything. Now you're just obsessing. You're getting too deep. You're getting too this. Stop with the fucking philosophy, okay? And I'm like, but honey, no. But it's all right. They paid a cover charge, not a tuition. All right, just be funny.
Perfect.
So
So not to get too political, but it is this time of year.
Yeah.
And were you involved? Did you get asked to speak at any of
I
that
got
stuff?
nothing.
Are you with her or him?
Here's the thing.
You do-
Do I have? Can I abstain?
Yes.
This is the choices we have. It's like you go to a restaurant. We have filet of shit or southern fried shit. I'm like, really? Do I have to eat? If you don't eat, you're not a good American. I'm okay. Here's the thing. Here's where I come down politically. I don't make enough money for the Republicans to care about me, and I make too much for the Democrats to give me shit. So no matter who gets elected, I'm fucked. It doesn't matter.
Oh, on that.
I did meet Uncle Dollhair, though. We did an episode of our show. I spent an afternoon with Trump in it.
Really?
Well, I didn't connect with the man. I didn't get a good feeling. It was like that scene in Goodfellas when De Niro's going, "No, Karen, the dresses are over there, over there." "No, I gotta go home, Jimmy. My mother's watching the kids." I get in the car and I run away. And I met her too. I met Hillary Clinton. I did a benefit at the St. Regis Hotel in New York for all the Democratic senators, and she was there. And with Bill Clinton, and I met them too, and yeah, okay, no, I'm moving on. That's it.
Well, we appreciate the laughs are just coming from all kinds of other topics.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see as president of the United States?
Oh,
Who would I like to see as
Josh, you're
president of the United
probing.
States? No, who would I? Living or dead?
Anything. I don't care.
Brando in The Godfather. That's what Don Corleone. That's what I wanted to say. I'm sorry you're not going to move the missiles. I think, I understand this is your choice. I'll have to make my choice too. Take the gun. Leave the cannolis.
Ever thought about being an impressionist?
No. That's
You're
a
so good
terrible.
at it.
That's a terrible impression of Brando.
Yeah. Well,
I used to like Brando when he was when he would do Larry King from Tahiti, because Marlon, are you there? I'm here. I'm here. Is this what it's gonna be? Fat jokes, Larry? Is that all it's gonna be? I'm more than that, Larry. No ice cream now. I'm more than that, Larry.
Adam Ferrara. We are running out of time.
Yes.
Such an interesting interview. It was so great
I
to
was
hear.
bored. I'll be honest with you. I was listening to me drone on. I was like, oh.
So you're going to be here at Flappers Burbank
I'll
on
be at
Friday
Flappers
and
Burbank
Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. I'm looking forward
8
to
and
seeing
10
you
o'clock.
guys.
We have a parking spot for you. Just
Thank
don't let me
God.
forget about
Thank
that.
God. For those of you who've never been to Burbank, it's a great club. I recommend you come, but you're going to have to park in Fresno.
But it's free.
And it's free.
It's free, but it's in Fresno.
Yeah, it's
so
in
that's
free.
just the way it
But
goes.
it's a great club, and please come and see us. A lot of great comics.
And don't forget to follow Adam on
At Adam Ferrara on Twitter, Facebook,
and
Instagram.
Snapchat, Instagram.
all-
basically, yeah.
all
For
those
your
things.
Adam Ferrara needs. You
that's
just come.
2 hours.
Yeah, call me. I'll come to your house. I'll do it. I don't give a shit.
Hey, I have some plumbing work I need done.
Is that the sound
that-
guy again?
That's the sound effect, Chris?
That's
okay.
the sound effect? The flushing of a toilet? Is that plumbing? I
That
got
was-
it.
That was it? Oh, that was a really bad one.
Was that applause?
Yeah, let me try to find a better one for you guys.
Was that
What-
applause,
was that
or
applause
plumbing?
or did
I don't
the
get
ground go bad in a speaker? What was that? that was my mother calling me, Adam, the screen's going fuzzy, the cable's out. I told you don't buy me the damn DVR.
it. What is that? Applause?
It's a rally.
Oh, these all sound strange.
That's
okay.
the French when Lindbergh landed.
All right. Don't forget, please come see Adam Ferrara this weekend in Burbank. And Josh, real quick, who is playing in Claremont this
In
weekend?
Claremont, we have Bobby Oliver from the Dow of Comedy, who will be performing
The Dow of Comedy.
the Dow of Comedy.
So-
And then coming up next week, Rob Schneider will be here.
Oh, Rob
So,
Schneider's
yes,
going to
indeed.
be here on
Cool.
the 2nd and 3rd. And don't forget to download our Flap app. It's free. And we let you know celebrity alerts and also deals and discounts you can't get anywhere else.
I like the Flap app. That's the
Flap
people-
app?
The people that had the surgery and there's too much skin.
FLAPPAPP. Oh, thank you so much for
Good to see
joining
you,
us,
Barbara.
Adam Ferrara.
Thanks for having me.
And that's it for the Flapcast. We have some out music if Chris can find it.
Chris, make it louder.
Play the
You
flushing
should be in a
sound
Chrysler
again.
300 next to
Play-
me at a stoplight with this kind of sound system.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us on another episode of the Flapcast.